Hello everybody, Nanny Carrot here. It's been a little while because I've had a bit of cleaning up to do, as have most places here in the UK after Storm Darag, if that's how you pronounce it, or Dara. Had a little bit of a disaster with the chicken run, which I will show you pictures of. But just before the storm, something quite amazing happened, and I will tell you all about that. But first of all, let's show you pictures of the storm damage that we had. So this is what I woke up to. The chicken run is on the fence and it's stuck on the bush, which meant it didn't go any further. It's still very windy at the moment and it took off like a kite. It was buried in under stones and pinned in and everything. Luckily the chicken house was fine. So, after making sure the chickens were all right, which they were, very scared really of the winds and just wanted to hide, I wanted to get the chicken coop, or run rather, down off of the fence because it was knocking the fence over, which that wouldn't have been good either. But as it was stuck on the bush, that was very difficult. And also we needed to get the cover off because it was that was making it behave like a kite. So we got that off in the end, got it over into the garden, didn't do any more because it was so windy, left it at the bottom of the garden, and a bit of a tree fell on it. So one of the plum trees at the bottom of the garden, which are rather old. So we left it for another day and then put it all back. Took a while to bed it in because there'd been rats tunnelling underneath to try and get at the chicken food or the bits of food that were left on the floor, because I take the chicken food in of a night time. But it's all well. But the fence blew down at the side as well. Let me show you. Here we are, big gap in the fence. I put something there temporarily, and while I was doing this, I didn't actually think to check that I had 4 chickens in the garden, and evidently I didn't, because my next door but one neighbour knocked on the door and said, 2 of your chickens are under the apple tree eating the apples on the floor, having a lovely time. They're fine, don't worry, but I thought I'd better get them back. They'd gone down the bottom of the garden and through the fence. So I've done most of the tidying up after the storm, though it's very windy out there today and I think it will be tomorrow. But I've made sure that everything is well secured, and I haven't put the cover back on at the moment because it's that caused it to take off a bit like a kite. I've just had to make sure that there's no space for any rats to dig underneath and all the sort of things you have to do to keep chickens safe. The other thing was that, I don't know whether you noticed, but the new coop that we bought was over by the fence out of the way, or the fence that came down, and there was only one chicken house in their little run. Now I haven't got any footage of this, which is such a shame, but Dusty and Sandy, the 2 little ones, go to bed very late at night and it's quite dark then. Well, the last minutes of dusk, like most youngsters, as late as they can possibly get away with. And what happened one night was that I could hear Dusty running around. I'm very, very distressed. And she was going in and out of the chicken house that the 2 of them, the 2 new chickens, were sleeping in, and getting up on her perch and then jumping out and more or less crying, it sounded like, though I know chickens don't, but she was obviously distressed. And when I went out there, Sandy was in the chicken house at the back next to Alice. Now she'd been working on this for some time. She kept going up the steps of a night time trying to get in there, but Alice would peg her off and send her packing. She'd obviously managed it this time. And I opened the back up and looked in, and she looked up at me and went bug, 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 as if to say, I'm not moving. It's taken me all this time to get here. And Dusty eventually did manage to get up the stairs and go in with all the others. She waited until Alice and Lola were asleep, I think, by the sounds that were coming out of there, just to make sure she was safe. So from that time on, they've been sleeping in there. Now, I didn't sleep much that night. I shut them in and I was worried that they'd be pecked to bits by the morning, but all's well. And they've been, as I say, they've been going in there. So all 4 chickens are now in the coop. And what was good was it's just before the weather started getting really, really cold. So as you probably know, chickens' bodies will give off quite a bit of heat, and that keeps them all warm. So when it was very windy, I was so glad they were all tucked up nicely together. And they've been getting on better ever since. Let me show you. Hooray, look, isn't it amazing? They're all eating out of one bowl and Alice isn't pecking them and chasing them away. Even Sandy's there, look. Oh, Dusty keeps choking. She tries to get a bit too excited and have too big a mouthfuls and then can't swallow it. But it's just so nice to see them not fighting over their food. Lola still likes them to know who's boss, but that's normal chicken behaviour. But look at Alice. She's not attacking them. It's great. So it's bye from us, and I just hope it's not too windy where you are and you're all safe. So bye from Nanny Carrot. See you next time.